Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bodhale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nidinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschat Adesha Dharine Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bodhale Swayam Rupakata Makyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Udapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajadam Sakagana Raghunathan Vitantam Sajivam Satvaidam Savadodam Parijana Sakidam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sakagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostude Tapta Kanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishavanastudhe Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarupyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vicha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Mukam Karodi Vachalam Pangam Langayade Karim Yatkriva Tamaham Mande Paramanandamadhavam Mukam Karodi Vachalam Pangam Langayade Karim Yatkriva Tamaham Mande Paramananda Madhavam Shri Gurum Dhirataranam Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Saktikam Namo Mahavatanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauradvishe Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Sranvatam Sakata Krishnaha Punyashravana Kirtanaha Hridayantasto Hyabhadrani Vidanoti Sugursatam Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So in this presentation, I'm going to talk about Bhishma Pitamaha speaking to Maharaj Yudhisthira who Krishna is. This is from Srimad Bhavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, verses 14 through 24. Bhishma Pitamaha is one of the 12 Mahajans and is one of the exalted personalities who understands the essence of the religion. When he was started to speak, he was on the bed of arrows which had been made by Arjuna at the end of the 10th day of the battle of Kurukshetra. For the first 10 days of this 18-day battle, Bhishma Pitamaha was the commander-in-chief of the Kauravas army, that was Duryodhana's army. When Arjuna and Bhishma had a fight, Shikandi was in front of Arjuna. So Bhishma did not shoot his arrows on Arjuna since Arjuna was behind Shikandi and Shikandi happens to be half woman, half man previously. So Bhishma Pitamaha will not shoot at a woman. So now he is lying on the arrows and one can imagine how painful it will be on arrows. Even if a little pin pricks our skin, we become so disturbed. Now think of just not one arrow, but several hundreds of arrows piercing his body, but he is not feeling any pain. Why? Because his consciousness is completely absorbed in thinking about Sri Krishna. So now conversation with Yudhisthira Maharaj, he will explain who Krishna is. In verse number 14, Sarvam kaala-krtam manye Bhavataam yad-apriyam Sapaalo yad-vase loko Vaayor ghanaavalih. In my opinion, this is all due to inevitable time, under whose control everyone in every planet is carried just as the clouds are carried by the wind. He had been explaining that even though the five Pandavas were very virtuous and Krishna was also there as a close friend as well as a relative, still there were so many reverses and challenges in their life. Why so? Many times we ask this question, why devotees have to suffer even though they are pious, faithful to the Lord, guided by the bona fide Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, and following the religious principles. So in verse number 16, Bhishma Pitamaha says, who is this time? Nahi asya karhicid raajan pumaan veda vidhitsitam yad-vase yuktaa muhyanti kavayo apihi. O king, no one can know the plan of the Lord Sri Krishna. Even though the great philosophers inquire exhaustively, they are bewildered. So this time, this inevitable time, what does it mean? Which means that time stops for no one. We may have different plans. We want to build business, buy big house, but Krishna, in the form of time, levels up all our plans. It says that man proposes, God disposes. So our plans are only successful till the time that we have available on this planet. All the time we are spending and end up pursuing many material things, and at the end everything will be taken away by the time. So time is like a flowing river which never stops. Krishna, in the form of time, he completely destroys everything that we have built at the time of death. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11, verse 32, Kalosmi lokakshaya krit pravriddho lokam samahartum iga pravartaha rite apitvam na bhavishyanti sarve e avastita prati anikeshu yod-daha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead tells to Arjuna that time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people, with the exception of you, Pandavas. All the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. So Krishna is the one according to whose plan this world is running, not according to our plan. We may think that it is according to our plan, but not. Everything is running as per Krishna's desire. Even a leaf cannot move without the desire of the Lord. So what to talk of anything else? All the planets, the sun, the hundreds and millions of stars, or everything is moving simply the desire of the Lord. So this whole creation happens by the desire of the Lord for His purpose. And Bhishma Pitamaha knew this very well. Nothing is possible without the desire of the Lord. When the battle of Mahabharata was taking place and Duryodhana was feeling that even though Bhishma Pitamaha is on our side and he is the commander-in-chief, but his heart is not on our side. But he has so much love for the Pandavas that he is always favorable to them. So he was not sure about that if Bhishma Pitamaha will protect him. So he approached Bhishma Pitamaha and told this to him. Can you do something so that I am secured and I will not die in this battle? So Bhishma Pitamaha then said, that you can come tomorrow at night when I am doing my bhajan. At that time, since he has great potency, when you come, I will bless you. You come along with your wife too, because he is going to bless his wife, Saubhagyavati Bhava, which means that his wife will never become a widow during her lifetime. So the husband is always there to protect her. So you should come with your wife too. Duryodhana said, okay. Now Krishna came to know the plan of Duryodhana, since Krishna is omniscient and he knows everything. Bhishma is also a great devotee of Krishna, and if he gives this vachan, this word, Saubhagyavati Bhava, Krishna is also bound. He cannot do anything. So when the time for Duryodhana to go the next day, night time, immense rain, heavy rain with thunderstorm came at that night. It was so strong, wind was blowing, that the Duryodhana started thinking that I should not go today. Maybe if I go under this heavy storm, I may get drowned, or I may get some problems, like big trees may fall on them, so I should not go tonight. So this is the commitment for those who are not devotees. On the other hand, for the devotees, irrespective of what happens, they will go and take the blessings or take the association of the exalted devotees. Those who are not devotees, their Shraddha is not so strong. Any such small disturbances, they have all these reasonings the mind presents. Let us not go today, let us go some other day. Right now there is so much of storm is happening. But if same thing to go to a party or something for their sense enjoyment, then this does not have any such reasoning. So Krishna made this immense storm to come, and at the same time he went to Draupadi and said, Draupadi, you should go and take blessings from Bhishma Pitamaha today. By his blessings, it will be ensured that during this battle, your 5 husbands will not die. Now, Draupadi is also a great devotee of Krishna, and whatever he says, she follows. So Krishna went along with them. So Krishna said one thing, when you go there, make sure you have your veil so that you do not show your face right away. When once Bhishma Pitamaha blesses you, then you can tell who you are. He also told Draupadi about the plan of Duryodhana's wife is also about to go. When she went there, it was dark at night, and he saw a lady had come, and he thought that this was Duryodhana's wife, so he blessed her Saubhagyavati Bhava, that you will never become a widow, that the husband will be always with you during your lifetime. So Draupadi became happy and showed her face. When Bhishma Pitamaha saw Draupadi, how did you come? He was asking. So she started smiling. He also said, who came along with you? She smiled again. Then Bhishma Pitamaha came to understood that this is Krishna's plan. So Bhishma Pitamaha said, nothing moves without the desire of Krishna. He said, whatever Krishna wants, that is only going to happen. So you know this very well, that Krishna is arranging everything. Krishna only wants me to fight on this side of Duryodhana, so he was fighting according to Krishna's plan. This is how the devotee is. Sometimes the devotees put in a situation extremely may not be favorable when we see it, may not be favorable, but if they understood what is the plan of Guru and Krishna behind this, they follow their plan. We do not understand what is the desire of the Lord, but if we are under the guidance of a realized spiritual master or under the guidance of a pure devotees, then through their instructions we can understand why we are in a particular situation. Many times what we see as an unfavorable condition over a period of time that we realize that becomes favorable condition. I was realized in my life how things happened and how situations are changed over the course of time. Ultimately, much later in our life, we realized that the Krishna had planned for behind this. So Bhishma Pitamaha is telling that everything is happening simply because the desire of the Lord. Lord in the form of time is making everything happens. There is a verse in Srimad Bhavatam that states that all of the living entities are like straws. They are all flowing down in a river. As the flow downwards, sometimes these straws come together and then sometimes downstream they separate and later on they may come together again and then come together with some other straws. So who are these straws? These are the various living entities. What is this river? This river is the current of time which is constantly flowing, and by the power of the waves these straws are coming together and separated, coming together and separated. Similarly, we are also come together with some others and get separated, and this is going from time immemorial. But a devotee understands that the relationship that I have in this life are temporary. I have been put in some situation with a particular family which is plan of the Lord, and just I have to execute that plan. Krishna also told Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita chapter 11 verse 33, Nimitta matram babasavya sachin. They are all already put to death by my arrangement, and therefore you just become an instrument of me in the fight. You do not have to do anything. Simply, you have to become an instrument in my hand. So Krishna is a script writer, director and producer. We are just acting as per the script that he has written for us. Therefore, the role in which we act, we should not be attached to them unnecessarily. Bhishma Pitamaha understood this very well. He accepted whatever was planned for him by Krishna. He says here, just like the clouds are carried by the wind, the clouds are not doing anything and they have no effort, and straws are flowing according to the current of the water. They do not have any capacity to go against the current of the water. Similarly, we do not have any capacity to go against the will of the Lord. But what we can do in that situation? Simply, we have to execute the plan which is favorable to bhakti. All we go through in this life is the accumulation of our past deeds. So as a devotee, one has to see how all these things will become favorable towards bhakti. So we have to do more Sravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, because bhakti can be executed in every situation. So this is the beauty of Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement. The limbs of bhakti does not depend on anything externally. For doing yajna, we need many ingredients. Like, we need special wood, ghee, and qualified brahmanas. Whereas in lockdown situation, like we face now, all we have to do is sitting at home, we can chant, sing, and remember, as well as hear about the Lord without any interruption. So one has to see every situation is happening as per the desire of the Lord. This material world itself manifested simply by Krishna's Ichha-Sakti. He plants the seed of creation in Mahatattva so that the living entities who are inimical to him can get an opportunity to understand that independent of him one cannot derive any happiness. So this creation is an opportunity according to the plan of the Lord to make us realize that if we are not with him, there is no everlasting peace and happiness. So then he says in verse 17 and 18, tasmad idam daiva-tantram vyavasya bharatar sabha tasyav vigito anatha nata pahi praja prabho. Bhishma Pitamaha says to King Yudhisthira that accepting the inconceivable plan of the Lord, you must follow it. You are now the appointed administrative head and you should now take care of all. In verse number 18, Bhishma Pitamaha says, Esa vai Bhagavan Sakshat Adhyo Narayana Pumaan Mohayan Mayaya Lokam Gudascharati Vrishnisu. He says, Narayana Pumaan. Who is that Lord? Now he is telling who is Narayana. Krishna is standing in front of him. Now Bhishma Pitamaha is announcing the whole world that Krishna, who is this inevitable time. He is the one who is this inevitable time. He is the one who creates all the plans. He is the one under whose direction and instructions everyone is moving. He is the first Narayana, the supreme enjoyer. Same thing Lord Brahma is saying in Brahma Samhita that Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchit Ananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. Krishna is the Adi Purusha, and there are so many expansions of him like Baladev, Sankarshan, Anirudh, Vasudev, Pradyumna, and so many Narayana expansions like Mahavishnu, Karana Dakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, so many different manifestations, but they are not the original. Krishna is the original personality of Godhead and he is the cause of all causes, Sarva Karana Karanam. In Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 3, verse number 28, in canto 1, Ete cha amsakala pumsaha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Vardayanti Yuge Yuge. Among all incarnation, Lord Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. So who is this Narayan? Ayan means the Om, the place where one resides. Nar means all living entities. So Narayan means with whom all the living entities, the entire creation resides, which is in Krishna. Similarly, Ramayan means the Lord Rama resides in Granth or scriptures, Ramayana. Ramayana is not different from Sri Lord Rama. Just as Lord Sri Krishna resides in Srimad Bhagavatam, his name is not different from the Lord Nam Naminaha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Creator, Sustenance, and Destroyer. What does God means? In God, the first letter G stands for Generator. Aham Bija Pradapita. Generator in the form of Lord Brahma, who is also the son of Krishna, manifested from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. He generates this universe and he is getting this power to create from Krishna himself. O stands for operator or maintainer. The last letter in God, D, stands for destroyer in the form of Rudra, and he destroys the whole world. In Srimad Bhagavatam starts with the first sloka, which is the second sloka from Vedanta Shruti. Janmad yasya etonvayad itaratas chartesh abhijnasvarat tene brahmaradaya adi kavayo muhyanti yad surayah tejo varimritam yata vinimayo yatra traisargo mrita damna svena sata nirasta kugakum satyam param dhimahi. So this is the definition of God. Krishna is Idaratas chartes abhijnaswarat. Krishna is the absolute truth and the primal cause of all causes of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations and is completely independent because there is no other cause beyond him. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11:32, Kalosmi lokakshaya krit pravarto, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Time I am the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people, with the exception of you, Pandavas. All the soldiers there on both sides will be slain. Yet he has no prior boss. No one is the creator of him, Sri Krishna. He is the Adi Purush. He is the Supreme. This is the definition of Narayana. So he creates this universe and enters as Paramatma in each and every living entity and manifests working senses and knowledge acquiring senses, and through his potency everything is working. We can put a seed in the soil and it germinates, but all the scientists of the world put together cannot create a seed from the chemicals from scratch that can germinate. The seed-giving father is Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita chapter 14, verse number 4, he says that Sarvayanishta kaunteya murtaya sambhavanti yaha tasam brahma mahatyonir aham bija pradapita. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. Aham bija pradapita. The original seed is coming from Krishna. From him comes various manifestations through his internal potency. The entire creation is manifested as part of his plan for his Leela and for his enjoyment. So he appeared in Vrishni family and is bewildering us like one among us by his internal potency. We are thinking that he is our friend, he is our cousin in so many ways. He is related to us. But actually, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is simply manifesting this Leela. In Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna praises Krishna when Krishna showed him his universal form. And Arjuna saw all the various demigods there within him, innumerable Brahmandas within him, innumerable Brahmas within him, and all the soldiers who are in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, they are rushing full speed into his mouth as moth dashed to destruction in a blazing fire. Arjuna saw this gigantic universal form that was pervading the entire universe. When he saw this, he is overwhelmed and he prayed to Krishna in Bhagavad Gita chapter 11 verse 38. Tvam adideva purusha puranas tvam asya visvasya param nidanam vedasi vedyam cha param cha dhamma tvaya tatam vishvam anantarupa. You are the most ancient person and the sole resting place of this universe. The entire world is resting on you. So many scientific explanations are there about the creation, like because of gravitational energy, or this law of physics, or that law of physics. All the planets are rotating around the sun. But that is not the cause of all the planets moving around the sun. For example, if you take a computer, inside of it there is a chip. If you go inside and see from electronics perspective, so many different actions that are taking place at the level of a chip. All that did not happen on its own. There is someone who created the chip and who put that inside the motherboard, and the result of which we are seeing on the computer. Everything is happening in the form of bits and bytes. It does not manifest on its own. Even though we do not see externally all of it, we do not see the chip, but behind the screen, someone who created this chip. Similarly, the entire creation is not just created on its own. There is a creator, and upon whom everything, just like the chip residing on the motherboard. All these things cannot be happening without its foundation. Arjuna says that you are the ultimate sanctuary of this manifested cosmic world. You are the knower of everything, and you are all that is knowable. You are the supreme refuge above the material modes. O limitless form, this whole cosmic manifestation is pervaded by you. When Arjuna saw Krishna in this universal form, then he started thinking, Saketi matva prasavam yad-apriyam ye Krishna ye adava ye saketi ajanata mahimanam tavedam maya pramadat pranayena vapi. Thinking of you as my friend, I have rashly addressed you, O Krishna, O Yadava, O my friend, not knowing your glories. Please forgive. Whatever I may have done in madness or in love, I have dishonored you many times, jesting as we relaxed, lay on the same bed, or sat or ate together, sometimes alone and sometimes in front of my friends. O infallible one, please excuse me for all those offenses. So this is the Aishwarya Bhava, which is different from Brijavasi mood, and Bhishma Pitamaha talks about this Brijavasi mood later in this chapter in his prayer, Bhishma Stuti. Bhishma Pitamaha also explains to Yudhisthira that this Krishna is not just an ordinary personality. Before we understand the mood of Brijavasi, we need to understand what is the position of Krishna. Otherwise, we will behave immaturely that are not according to the spiritual instruction. So he says that with our ignorance, we are thinking Krishna is our friend, counselor, he came as a peace messenger, even to the court of Duryodhana, he did all these simple jobs, but he is not an ordinary person. Who is he? In text number 21 of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, he says, Sarvatmana samadrisho yad-vase anahan kriteg tat-krtam adi vaisamyam niravadyasya na kvachit. Being the absolute personality of Godhead, he is present in everyone's heart. He is equally kind to everyone and is free from false ego of differentiation. Therefore, whatever he does is free from material inability, is equibalanced. In text 22, yet despite his being equally kind to everyone, he has graciously come before me while I am ending my life, for I am his unflinching servitor. So this is the special quality of Krishna. Even though he is equal to everyone, he is the creator, Bija Pradapita, but at the same time he has special love for those devotees who execute unalloyed devotion. And he says in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita as well, chapter 9, verse number 29, Samoham sarvabhuteshu name dvesha asti na priyaha e bhajanti tumam bhaktya mayite teshu chapriyaham. I envy no one, nor I am partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also friend to him. So Krishna is giving sunshine to everyone. He is giving water to everyone, He is giving air to everyone. All the resources of nature are also available to everyone. Krishna is not saying that if someone is not a devotee, you cannot have oxygen to breathe or you cannot have water to drink. But people in this world who are dictators and powerful person, and if you are not in good terms with them, they may put you in the jail or completely take away all your things. But Krishna is not like that, but he is giving even to those who are inimical to him. He is giving everything to them. Some who are living lavishly and enjoy their senses, and he is providing everything to enjoy the extent you can until you come to the understanding that all these enjoyments will not give you happiness. But when it comes to giving his love, when it comes to giving his bhakti, when it comes to giving his darshan, then he uses his discretion. These things he does not give away freely to everyone. Krishna says to Arjuna that I would not relate to them, namely non-devotees, just like I'm relating with you, just like I'm carrying your orders. Just like I'm driving your chariot. Those things cannot happen to those who are not my devotees. For my devotee, I will do anything. He even broke his vow. Namely, he took a vow not to take any weapon during the war, but to protect Arjuna from the arrow of Bhishma Pitamaha, he came down from the chariot and picked up the wheel, which is lying on the ground nearby, and turned that into a chakra and dashed toward Bhishma to kill him. When it comes to his devotees, Krishna has a very special love. Therefore, the devotees only depend on the mercy of the Lord, and the devotee has complete faith that in every situation that Krishna will protect me. So the devotee patiently waits for Krishna's plan to be executed. Whatever challenges and difficulties come in life, with great patience and with great devotion and with great faith, he faces them. So they know that every difficulty that I'm facing is only because of my past deeds. They do not blame anyone for the difficulties that are coming in their life and tolerate them, and at the same time engage their senses and their mind in the service of Krishna. Knowing that all these are temporary and pass by, with mind, words, and body, they are constantly offering obeisances unto the Lord. Such devotee have become a qualified devotee. They have earned Krishna's mercy and they have become qualified, bona fide, unalloyed devotees of the Lord. One of the great Vaishnavas said the following: try to this very carefully if you want to do bhajan or meditation. You will have to remember the slokas of Srimad Bhavatam, not just the slok, the meaning and the mood of it. We need to know. Without such remembrance, you will always be angry, so many problems, always be upset, and you will not be able to do bhajan properly. So this is the mood of Bhishma Pitamaha. Also, how throughout his life, the tribulation that we went through, it is like he puts a stone in his heart. He had to suppress his emotions. He tied himself to the throne of Hastinapur and accepting this as the plan of the Lord and accepting this as the reaction of his past misdeeds. So he kept on tolerating it, he kept on performing duties, and Bhishma says, how such devotees now become qualified to receive the mercy of the Lord. So now, because of that, Krishna is graciously presented in front of me at the time of ready to give up my life. Then he says a beautiful verse Srimad Bhagavad, again, verse number 33. Bhaktya avesha mano yasmin vachayan nama kirtayan tyajan kalevaram yogi muchyate kama karma bihi. The personality of Godhead who appears in the mind of the devotee by attentive devotion and meditation and by chanting of the holy name releases the devotee from the bondage of fruitive activities at the time of his quitting the material body. So, personality of Godhead who appears in the mind of the devotee by attentive devotion. Therefore, the devotee has to be very careful when he is doing his meditation or bhajan. He has to be very attentive to make sure there is no weeds are growing along with this bhakti lila creeper, and be constant association with advanced devotees and under the guidance of the guru and not under the guidance of one's own mind. And when he know what he has received is so precious, and no matter what may happen, I am going to conserve this and very carefully take this path of bhakti and follow the instructions of Guru Varga, and at the end I will achieve Krishna Prema with full enthusiasm and by confidence, as mentioned by Rupa Goswami in the Nectar of Instruction. Utsaham nishtayat tat karma pravartanat sangat tyagat sato vrithe satvir bhakti prasiddhyati. There are 6 favorable principles to the execution of pure devotional service. 1. Being enthusiastic. 2. Enduring with confidence. 3. Being patient. 4. Acting according to regulative principles such as Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, hearing, chanting and remembering Krishna. And the 5th, abandoning the association of non-devotees. And the 6th, following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. So these 6 principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. So Vishwanath Chakravarti also explained this in great detail for us so that we can carry every step, analyze and make sure that we are not deviating from the path of bhakti. And by chanting the holy name of the Lord, the Lord says that those who are attentively performs devotional practices, the Lord, He releases those devotees from the bondage of fruitive activities at the time of his quitting the material body. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, verse number 66, Yam yam vyapismaran bhavam tyajati ante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tat bhava bhavitaha. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. Also Krishna says in the same chapter, verse 5, Antakale cha mam eva smaran muktva kalevaram yaprayati samad bhavam yadinasti atra samshayaha. And whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attain my nature. Of this there is no doubt. In the entire life, if we are very attentive of each and of our actions and focusing our mind on the Lord all the time, then certainly at the time of death we will also remember Him. King Kulashekar Arwar in Mukuntamala says that Krishna tvadiya pada pankaja pancharantam adyaiva me vishadumanasa rajaham saha prana prayana samaye kabavada pittaihi kandavarado nabitau smaranam kutaste. Oh my Lord, I always want to be just like as the bumblebee who is always engaged at the lotus flower. I want my mind to be always absorbed in thinking and meditating on your lotus feet from right now onwards. I do not want to postpone to start tomorrow and then day after tomorrow I will become more serious. At the moment of my last breath of my throat will be choked, and how I will be able to remember you if I do not practice it from now. So this is what King Kulashekar Arwar is telling in Mukuntamala Sostra. Bhishma Pitamaha had a boon which was given by his father Maharaj Shantanu because of the great sacrifice that he had done for the pleasure of his father. So he took a vow of celibacy, so Shantanu gave this boon that you will be able to give up the body at any time that you wanted. So he had something, but he used that boon to wait for the right time so that Krishna will also be present near him. And he gave up his body by seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead's beautiful face of Sri Krishna. So in this Canto 1, Chapter 9, verse 24, Sadeva Devo Bhagavan Pratiksatam Satam Kalevaram Yavad Idam Inomi Agam Prasanna Asa Aruna Lojano Lasan Mukha Ambujo Dhyana Pataschadur Pujaha. May my Lord, who is four-handed and whose beautifully decorated lotus feet with eyes as red as the rising sun is smiling, kindly await me at that moment when I quit this material body. This is what Bhishma Pitamaha says in the verse 24. So here we should note that Bhishma Pitamaha is very humble and wanted this much only, very much only, thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord with rapt attention when he passes away. So this is the highest ambition of a pure devotee. So one Vaishnava prayer goes as follows. O Srimati Radhika, bless me with one thing, that when I give up my body at the time of death, my voice will be choked and I may be overwhelmed with so much pain, and let me see your beautiful face and let me remember your holy name. And this should be our prayer. We should remember the Lord, remember the holy name at the time of death. Therefore, day and night and every moment of our life, we should be thinking of the Lord's form and name. So this is the desire and commitment one should develop for the love of God. While doing our occupational duties, whether you are a householder or a student, etc., whatever situation we might be, Bhishma Pitamaha shows us that devotion is not an external thing. It is not an external expression of how good you speak. It is not an external expression of our musical capabilities or so many other things. Those are not bhakti. Bhakti is deep, loving sentiment of the soul for the super soul. Externally, whatever it may be, but internally, we can always meditate and remember. Just like Bhishma Pitamaha, even though he was doing his duty on Duryodhana's side, nothing was favorable. And everyone is demonic except a few exceptional, like Dronacharya, Vidura, and there were some more nice devotees. But in general, many were inimical towards Krishna. Just like Vibhishna, even though he stayed in Lanka and he was the brother to Ravana, and he maintained his deep devotion to the Lord Rama, and one day Lord Rama came and gave his darshan to him. Similarly, in whatever situation we are, we should only pray to Guru and Krishna, Lord Sri Krishna, give us the strength to constantly meditate, not deviate from the path of bhakti in any circumstances. So this is the prayer of Bhishma Pitamaha that is talking to Maharaj Yudhisthira. After this, he gave some instructions to Yudhisthira, and then the time comes when it is auspicious for him to leave his body and at the end he chanted some beautiful prayers to Krishna, which is Bhishma Stuti. So I'll stop here for this presentation. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Radhe Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Radhe Shyam.